Welcome to the Average Tabletop Gamers. I'm Ben.
I'm Ian. And I'm Gary.
And on this episode we're looking at Rebellion Publishing and Warlord Games' latest and newest joint venture, Strontium Dog. Welcome to the Average Tabletop Gamers. In this episode we're going to be looking at the first joint venture between Rebellion Publishing and Warlord Games as part of the licensing agreement they did last year. This is Strontium Dog. So exciting licensing.
Yeah.
Oh, very much so. One of the big characters from 2000 AD.
Definitely.
And the first of many.
That's what we're hearing.
If rumour be true.
Which, when you think the licenses Rebellion have got from the 2000 AD franchise, there's a lot in there. I think they're probably waiting to see how successful this one is before they go anywhere else. Yeah,
I mean, I believe that they have got them all planned out, and they have a preliminary release schedule for them. But yeah, you know, Strontium Dog it was a really interesting and bold choice, I think, for the first license as well.
It's considering how very British 2000 AD is. It's quintessentially these characters are really diverse. They go anywhere they want to 2000 AD, but you can't get away with it from that feel that you get of a classic British comic. One of the things I love is the fact that, and as a kid, I'd see Marvel comics and DC comics, and you know, I was a very young kid in the 70s, and it was the cyans and the magentas and the yellows. I was that young, and they were really bright and they didn't really appeal to me. But the brilliant black and white work you got in British comics was exceptional, absolutely exceptional. From the Alf Tough of the Track days, the sort of Warlord and the Victor stuff I'd read as a kid. But 2000 AD was just something so different, but still quintessentially.
And I think the thing for me as well is 2000 AD was what really introduced me to comics, and it was Judge Dredd and Johnny Alpha from Strontium Dog, who were my first big. You know, when other people were reading Superman and Batman, I didn't really like I got into superheroes late. I didn't really like superheroes when I was young, so I preferred and as much as they're not down to earth, the more down to earth characters of Johnny Alpha, Slane, Judge Dredd. Yeah. I mean, I'm just listing the other potential games that could be coming out now.
I think they were always gritty. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where there
was a real level of maturity. Yeah. The stories of Dread and ABC Warriors, Nemesis, etc. There was such a gritty reality and maturity to the storytelling, as well as the kind of action and things like this. Yeah. It made such a wide and varied set of worlds that as a kid you kind of felt like you were trespassing ever so slightly into.
And I think they felt, and I didn't realise this at the time, but looking back, and I love my Marvel now. I'm not so much a fan of DC. I like some elements of it. But you'll know where I'm going to come from with this is when characters died in those worlds, they tended to stay dead. So there were consequences. So when things went wrong for them, they went bad.
Yeah. Even things like Johnny Alpha himself being a bounty hunter. You know, he was like absolutely the model itself and the way it was drawn is absolutely fantastic. So we'll go for a close-up on this figure so you can have a look at it. Now he's absolutely stunning. The detail's fantastic. The colours Ben's chosen have matched what you should get from anything you'd see from the universe in any of the colorations and the stuff that Warlord have done. And it's absolutely fantastic. The models are beautiful, but they're really evocative, and the character himself being a bounty hunter, that once again it was kind of like he was in it for the money. So we better have a look at the box contents and have a look through, see what see what you're getting into.
Talking about 70s and 80s.
I know we are reminiscing. Just quickly before we do, for the people out there who may be too young or maybe weren't into 2008, who was Johnny Alpha and what is a Strontium Dog?
Well, Johnny Alpha being your, as you put it, first comic crush.
So Johnny Alpha was a mutant bounty hunter, or as they were in the comic, a search and destroy agent, who went around the galaxy capturing mutants and other people who broke the law with other search and destroy agents like the not stereotype named Wolf Sternhammer, the Viking that he took out of time, because time travel was a thing in Johnny Alpha's time, and his medic, the Gronk,
the Gronk,
had a heart attack in every single episode, I believe.
Yeah, never died of fear though.
I'll get him the right way up, sorry. Here we go.
And they did some great, the type of character, and because they let him dimension travel and time travel, they kind of could go quite far with it. They could have him chasing criminals through. It wasn't just, oh, he's going to this city sector and now you've got to go and get him there. It was they could introduce a lot of different things into it, and I let them do crossovers. So they did Johnny Alpha and Dread, in a number of instances. And
what's interesting that he's a mutant chasing mutants as well. I'm trying to think, did Strontium Dog come before Blade Runner? Because I'm wondering if they've took any of the element of that from it. So,
but I mean, we've been showing some of the models, and actually it's a fairly compact little box in terms of what you get. It's not as it's not as ram-packed as some of the stuff we've reviewed on the channel.
It's not that sprawling box set that other companies are putting out at the moment. And especially at that higher price point that they're putting those out. And we'll discuss value for money in a little bit. But what do we get?
So you get some lovely scenery, which you put together. It's simple wood, the usual.
It all comes from Sarissa,
right?
Precision. So anybody that kind of looks at terrain or looks through Warlord, you're going to be really familiar with Sarissa MDF. They're still right at the top of the tree in terms of quality and kind of ingenuity in terms of MDF scenery. So really easy to put together, really nice set of instructions.
I think as well, to link into other games, any fans of the Fallout games, the Wasteland Warfare games out now, that'd be perfect to go in with that as well. I know there's a lot of bespoke stuff, but you know, getting maximum value out of yourself.
And in terms of what you get a little sort of shanty hut, you get a little guard tower, sort of fan power generator, and 4 solar panels. And they're enough for what it is. I mean, the type of game it is probably a micro skirmish game in that you're playing with very, very few miniatures, and the scenarios, the few scenarios we played two Strontium Dogs, so Johnny Alpha and Wolf, versus the 5 members of the Max Bubba gang.
And it's about a 2 foot by 2 foot playing area, which works really well with this amount of miniatures.
And interestingly, with the miniatures as well, that most people won't expect is you'd expect plastics, maybe the Stonecast resins. These are actually metal, which is actually a very different choice.
And they're all, I'll big up your painting again, they're all beautifully painted, but they're all beautiful miniatures. And they've gone for, spoilers for anyone who hasn't read the 2000 AD, they've gone for one of the iconic story arcs as the setting in terms of what you get for your scenario and the miniatures you get. You've got Johnny and Wolf against the Max Bubba gang, which is the story that leads to the death of Wolf Sternhammer, and he stays dead.
Spoilers.
I said spoilers. I said spoilers.
So, what else do we get?
So you get the usual lovely card stock. You've got character cards for all your miniatures, gives you your stats, gives you special abilities.
We've got Johnny in view there for everyone. As you can see, once again, the green and the yellow scheme they've got, it's fantastic. It's really well laid out, and the reader of the card is extra special rules and skills you can refer to, and it's got beautiful Carlos Esquerra artwork on there as well.
You get more great card stock, so you get abilities, so things that you can do to interrupt and hinder your opponent, like all images taken from the comics, so they tend to use things that happened to people in the comics as the power-ups.
So we won't close up on these, but you can, even at this great distance, you'll be able to recognise the brilliant, and this is what I mean, the black and white artwork. Fantastic. The
very enigmatic.
Yeah, completely. The shading and the shadows you get in it, it was really stark and really bit sinister when I was a kid, but I loved it.
And in addition to that, in exactly the same format, you get equipment as well.
Yeah.
So you get all the things, for those of you who know him, all the things you'd associate with Johnny Alpha. So you can throw around your time bombs, and you do get your electro knucks, and and all those great things you remember as a kid.
I always wanted electro knucks when I started going to nightclubs.
So as well as the other basics, there are some other gaming paraphernalia you need. You get the perennial dice that you need for any game, and in this game you're actually getting specialist dice which have got special symbols on them, so a lot of game mechanics are doing that.
So looking at these dice and the way that they are arranged and the imagery that they've used, this is really talking to me of a matched system.
Yeah,
very much
so. That when they are looking at bringing these the other licenses to life, they are going to be using what appears to be the same rule set and the same gameplay.
Because 2000 AD is your 6, or 2000 AD is your 1 in 6 chance, and it looks like I can't. It's a dread badge.
It looks like a dread badge.
Yeah, it's a shield badge, and then a generic explosion. So, the tokens, the plastic tokens look very ambiguous as well.
Yep,
they're just divided into one colour or another colour. There's nothing. There's no SD logos on there. There's no
faction things.
Yeah.
The things that Workshop and a lot of manufacturers do is make you think, my faction, I've got to collect them.
Yeah.
Actually, they've gone for a much more simple breakdown.
Yeah. Which again, I really appreciate, and I think it does. It screams generic rule system.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's clearly based on the systems Warlord have. It's clearly based on the elements of their systems they know work.
Yeah.
So put a token into the bag per character you've got, and draw it out to see who acts. Now they've tweaked it, and there are additional things in there so that because it's so small, there's a lot more complexity than your than your individual fighting and bolt action or one of the other games. Because you're at a far smaller scale. As with everything else, what I liked is the rule book is actually a reasonable size. It's a lovely, glossy, quality bit of book.
It looks like, if going back again to the comics thing, it looks like those trade paperbacks that you'd find in Waterstones, not in a comics book store, in Waterstones, where they'd taken it, made it that little bit bigger, and then banged it in the shelf on Waterstones like that, or other bookshops.
Other bookshops are available.
Now it's a work of art, really. I would hold it up, but I'm enjoying it too much. So I'm going to give it to you to hold up.
Thank you. It's great. You can see you've got all your different characters in there. Original artwork out of the comics. Black and white again. Still some colour from the later stuff.
The production and the layout is boring but essential.
Yeah,
and it's really well done.
And I think this is where the Rebellion side of things really come in. Rebellion, being a publishing company and having been around for as long as they have, they really know what they're doing. They really know what they're, how to lay out a book, how to make things look right, And I think that in itself is worth the license alone to get a book that looks as good as that.
And there's clearly a lot to the game. We've played a few games now and just getting used to the rules because there's a complexity there. And using the scenarios that come with the game, but there's a lot of other miniatures out there, and you get to the book is built around either one-off games or a campaign. You can basically get your miniatures and build up a campaign.
Yeah.
In terms of how it plays, though, this is probably where it takes a slight dip for me. And I know we've only played a few games, but it hasn't immediately grabbed me in the way some of the other games did. Like Test of Honor is the one that comes to mind because it's a similar small scale.
Yeah, there's a lot of crossover similarity between how it should play.
Yes.
Yeah, they've got with the tokens. We won't go for close-ups on these, but some of the tokens will have a star symbol on, some won't, and the star symbols have a chance to be recycled back into the bag. So this is for your premier heroes. You things like Johnny Alpha can do this, Wolf Sternhammer can do this, but not a lot of the henchmen from the gangs can. So it means that the quintessential heroes, the eponymous heroes, they get a bit more chance to activate. And what we found, we got in a bit of a loop, so we could end up in a situation where I was on the back foot playing the henchman, but the good guys were just cycling through, having turn after turn after turn, and it was really overpowering.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know how to defeat that. There's not a way I can block it. We may need to play more and have a look more into the in-depth.
And I think that's it. It might just be, and we were playing slightly cut down. We weren't maybe using all the abilities that everyone could use.
I think it was definitely a case of just trying to get a head around gameplay.
And by all means, in the comic section, people who maybe have played a lot more than we have at this point, want to put a comment on and steer us in the right direction.
Yeah, very much so.
More than happy to have people's insights as well.
But I think the principle behind... I mean, I like the small-scale skirmish games anyway. I think the principle behind it... I can see it being another quick game. I can see it being another 30 minutes. You'll squeeze in a game between your people. And I think that what I do like is... Like your Necromunders, like your Blood Bowls, you can pick your warband, you can pick your SD agents. So there are other box sets out there. So you can go and buy the Styx Brothers for anyone who knows in the comics. You can get Durham Red, the famous vampire SD agent. You get a box full of Muties, which comes with Midden Face. Yeah. The stereotypical Scot Mutie.
Really? Yeah, okay.
I'm not bitter.
There's one of the box sets that I really like is, again, it's all metal miniatures, but every single part is interchangeable.
Yeah.
So
build a Mutie box.
The build a Mutie box. So you have, I don't know, I can't remember if it's 5 or 6 minis in there, but you've got 5 or 6 different torsos, 5 or 6 different legs, 5 or 6 different right arms, heads, etc., and you put them together in whatever order you want.
Yeah. And for those of you out there familiar with the X-Men thinking, ooh, mutants, I wonder what kind of special powers they have. The mutants in the Strontium Dog universe were kind of not always the greatest. As I remember, Kid Knee, whose mutant ability was his face was on his knee. and that was it, I'm not making that up. Yeah. And he was called Kid Knee, another great pun there from Strontium Dog.
One of the beauties of Strontium Dog, if you start kind of getting into it and you really, and this is kind of spurred you to have a look into the world of Strontium Dog. What 2000 AD, one of the things that they did so well in the 70s, 80s, 90s was the names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The names are just a joy to behold. Kid Knee is wonderful.
Yeah.
However, Borag Thung-Earthling.
Yes, we're getting massively sidetracked.
Nostalgic.
We are actually. So we're talking. So in terms of the prices, the full box was £50.
Yeah, £50 for that. Which kind of, when you look at the amount of minis you get, the scenery you get, the books and everything like that, 50 quid. It's pretty good value.
It's not bad, is it? It's actually, when I first saw it, I thought there's not a lot in there, but metal minis, decent quality scenery rather than flat cardboard with an image drawn on it, or even just cardboard scenery.
Yeah.
It's actually there's a good quality to it. It feels robust. The dice you get are actually engraved, so they're not just printed dice. They're a decent quality dice. Plastic tokens, not cardboard tokens. A good quality,
and plenty of them as well.
I would temper it by saying that one of the things we've talked about on the other videos on the channel, by all means check them out. We talk about how it's a really cold nature skirmish Warlord gaming right now.
Yeah.
There's a hell of a lot of stuff out there that so many manufacturers are doing. It's really competitive, and for me, I think it's a brave thing because it's quite challenging, and I think you can't just have the brilliant intellectual property, the fantastic heritage that we've got with 2000 AD carrying it, and that's the danger for me. There's other skirmish game systems that are maybe on par and better. Content may be better, so I think for me, I think it's going to struggle, and that's my personal opinion.
I have to agree with you. I think that, of course, all of these licenses are going to have that massive initial hit of sales from the fanboys, like ourselves. I know, Rogue Trooper, if they do a Rogue Trooper, I'm going to be all over that.
I'll be doing
I'm going to be all over an ABC Warriors.
If Dread comes out,
there'll
be a lot of Dread boxes on the table.
but
even when
once you pass that initial hit, what's the longevity? How does it play? How does it rate against everything else?
It's the ancillary stuff that comes out.
And I think my concern is as well is it comes back to what I said before, because it didn't have that immediate grab of I've got to play more of this, I really feel like I'm doing it. There were elements in there just looking through because, and we've often joked, because of how I approach games and the way I look at it, I've looked through some of those and gone, oh, that's a power play. If I do that to someone, that will not actually be fun for the person. Like there's like time grenades. There's one of them in there. It's like, if this hits, remove the model it hits from the table. And there's no. It's just, if you hit with it, they're dead. And it's just, okay, it's good thematically, but it would suck to have that done to you.
And potentially, when you're thinking you've played out your scenario, you've thought of your tactics, you've positioned your guys, it's a game changer.
Absolutely.
It's the Games Workshop chucking a vortex grenade on something. You know, it's a bit. It's kind of had its day having something that much of a game changer in it. It's nice. It's cinematic. It's comic. It kind of ties in. So I think it's potentially got its place. But would people who maybe want to tournament game it, competitive game it, or maybe match play it, would they want to do that? Possibly not. So I think this is we're a group of gentlemen gamers. We always describe ourselves as that. We're genial, we're easygoing, and I think if you're that type of gamer, this has probably got a lot for you. And I think that would really appeal to that market. So I think if you've got a group of friends who are a bit like-minded, like the background, you know, it's fantastic. And if you don't know the background, I would say check out the Rebellion site and have a look. Immerse yourself in it a little bit, and I'd say invest in the Strontium Dog trade paperback.
Absolutely, they're some of the best books I've read.
Look at some of these brilliant comics that we're being nostalgic about, which today still look fantastic.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's a game that's going to bring anyone into the hobby.
No,
but I think it's a game for those who are in the hobby. It's worth getting. I think it is. It's good enough to while away some time.
And I think I've been quite critical that I do not regret buying this game, as in they're stunning. They're some of the nicest miniatures I currently own. And as much as I don't know how much we'll play this, but I will be buying more miniatures, because the other sets that are out there, which we didn't mention, so they're about £15 to £20 depending how many miniatures in a box set. Or you can get the mega deal, which is £225, and I think you get everything they've produced for Strontium Dog.
Which for a lot of people these days at the price points in the hobby, it's not a stretch.
£225, not that bad.
So should we give it a bit of a wrap up with a rating?
Absolutely. So I like it. I think from a modeller's perspective, it's beautiful. The minis themselves are wonderful. They're a joy to paint. I had a lot of fun doing them. The scenery was really nice to build, and just it looks wonderful. The quality of production is really, really good. I'm looking forward to having a few more games myself. And I'm looking forward to getting some more of the things, seeing how that alters the gameplay. But I think it's worthwhile. I think it's a good product.
Yeah, likewise. I mean, I'm probably a little on the fence with the gameplay. But that's probably my particular how I approach the games. But it's beautiful. I've got some lovely kit. It's for what you get in the box, what you pay for. There's no regrets there, and I will be, even with the same rule sets and what I've just said about the gameplay. If there's anything of their other licensing, I'll probably go for it as well.
I think for me, it's one of those where it's a great set. If you're a bit of a fan of the background, you like your British comics, you like the dark humour that it brings in, and also the childish humour as well. It's great. I think it's something I'd dip my toe in, but I'd be a bit all out. I think I'm the most lukewarm of the three of us about the game. However, what we will do, check out our social links that you will see scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Okay, check us out on Facebook, check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And what we're going to do is we're going to get some close-ups done of the lovely miniatures that Ben's done, some close-ups of the terrain, just so you can check it out. Give us your feedback, give us some comments, tell us what you think and what you'd like to see in the future. And
like, share, subscribe. Go on Facebook, like our page, like our Instagram, like our Twitter. Hit the subscribe button downstairs there.
Hit the alarm bell so you get the notifications.
The alarm bell. We've got so much good stuff coming out this year. We're going to be overrun. We're going to be overrunning the YouTubes with all of our work.
So brilliant.
So I'm really enthused. I'm really enthused. So thanks for coming along. We have been the Average Tabletop Gamers, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
See you later.
See you.